Hey everyone, Jeff Ciecko here with CK Golf and another episode of CK Golf Conversations. I'm super excited today to be joined by these three esteemed gentlemen and talk about Paragolf and Paragolf Canada. Paragolf Canada's strategic plan is to promote the involvement of the game of golf for people of all abilities, empowering everyone with a chance to play the game and develop their potential regardless of the severity of their disability. This is a really important topic today, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Without further ado, let me have the guys introduce themselves. Todd, we'll start with you.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me on. My name is Todd Kierstead. I'm the CEO and founder of Paragolf Canada.
Awesome. Bryan, I'll flip it over to you. You've been on many times.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, Jeff. Great to chat with everybody. Bryan Ewart, General Manager at Chilliwack Golf Club. We're about an hour east of Vancouver.
Okay, great. And Rick, we've got a little Okanagan presence here with you today.
Yeah, we sure do. Thanks, Jeff and Tara, for thinking of us and bringing us on. Yeah, long history, Canadian PGA member, now kind of retired, but retiring to a passion, and that is teaching. And I'm based out of the Two Eagles Golf Course right in West Kelowna.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys, for your time today. Todd, I just wanted to turn it over to you and let you talk about or introduce, for those that don't know anything about Paragolf Canada, and how did you first get involved, and where's it gone in the last year or so? Because I see it in the news all the time, man. It's really great.
It's exploding right now. It's a hot button topic right now. So I've been a PGA professional for over 20 years. For the last 18 years, I've had the privilege of traveling around the world, helping raise millions of dollars for various charities. Back in 2014, I did a demonstration for a veterans hospital outside of Tampa, Florida. And it became apparent that a lot of the shots I was hitting for pure entertainment value were actually emulating the wounded veterans that were in attendance. So I've traveled around the world. I've won Trick Shot of the Year on the Golf Channel, been on ESPN, Sports Illustrated, TMZ by doing entertainment. But with the right audience, it changed the mindset that, you know what, this isn't maybe entertaining anymore. This is motivating and inspiring. So I was hitting golf balls blindfolded. I looked out, there were individuals that were affected by mustard gas in the Vietnam War, lost their sight. I was swinging golf, hitting golf balls, showing the correlation between golf and tennis. There were individuals with one arm. I was swinging with one arm. I was standing on one leg. There were leg amputees. I was hitting golf balls off my knees. There were double leg amputees. I was hitting golf balls in a Costco fold-out chair. There were individuals that were in a wheelchair situation. So it immediately turned the light bulb on to me that I was showing these individuals that, yes, maybe you can't play the game of golf the way that you used to due to your injuries in the theater of war, but here's an adaptive way to play. So I brought the program up to Canada, graciously sponsored by Adidas and TaylorMade. They picked it up immediately. They saw a huge opportunity to help get more people back into the game of golf. Then 2020, 2021, lockdown happened with COVID, wasn't able to travel as much as I wanted to. So it was the perfect timing for me to roll out Paragolf Canada. Paragolf Canada right now has over 300 members all across the country. We have everything from a grassroots development program where we're, as I said, introducing or reintroducing people back to the game of golf, all the way up to the best adaptive golfers in the world. And some of them are the #1 ranked golfers in the world that live here in Canada. So it's just giving people back the opportunity and having a community where people can go to, because everybody's been kind of, off on their own, working in different silos, but it's bringing people together that have been a underrepresented community in the golf industry for a long, long time.
Wow, that's a great story. I had no idea it went back to sort of the 2014. I thought this was maybe a couple of years old. So that's going back, and super great story to hear about the light bulb moment, right? I love those things where you're just sort of sitting back and you're doing something that's fun and you're really enjoying, and then you go, hey, boom, this is an idea that can help people. And that's a really unique and special story. So Bryan, I want to ask you, from a facility standpoint, Chilliwack Golf Club is heavily involved or getting started to be heavily involved with Paragolf Canada and Todd and his team. What's the experience been like as a facility for you guys?
Yeah, I think, for me personally, the light bulb moment was, I think it was on a weekend, maybe watching the Masters or a golf tournament anyways. And one of our local local community guys who's grown up in Chilliwack, played junior golf here. And I didn't actually know him, but he was paralyzed through an infection, and he used golf basically to as a sort of his motivation to get back into walking and everyday life. So anyway, as I was sitting there at home, he put out a tweet, basically his first golf shot since being paralyzed, and he tweeted that out, and the tweet got picked up by Phil Mickelson. He commented on it, and then it kind of went viral, and so it was kind of the first thing I saw. To be honest, I never really had thought about it too much, to be honest, and but when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that's pretty incredible and inspiring. And then started following him immediately. His name's Dustin, and was watching his tweets, and then basically a couple months later, he's like, yeah, I want to get to the point now where I'm ready for my first round of golf at a golf course. And so he threw that out on Twitter, and I contacted him directly and invited him out to come and play Chilliwack. And ever since then, we've been in touch and working together on a few different things. So I just think it's just so inspiring, like to have an opportunity. And adaptive golf is for so many people, and we're just trying to get as many people playing the game of golf as we can. So that was our main motivation.
Yeah, and there was a great story that you sent me the link to just this morning, actually, with a link to Global TV and Dustin's story, and we'll put that in the show notes for everybody to have a look at. It's a 2-minute clip of what it's meant to him to be able to play golf again. And it's a fantastic story. Bryan, sorry, just before we move on to Rick, I just wanted to follow up with you. Did you have to do anything as a facility or at your golf academy to adapt to Paragolf and bringing in the different level of instructor or the mat combination or handicap areas, anything like that?
We're just really on the sort of beginning of this journey and what we're wanting to do. So at this point, no, we haven't done anything with yet. But with that being said, we're gearing up for we have a clinic, an adaptive golf clinic here on May 14th, and we're inviting or giving an opportunity for 10 people to come out and play golf. Todd's going to be joining us for that, and our golf academy will be involved. And so, I think coming out of that or leading up to that, we'll find out what kind of tools and equipment we need, but we haven't quite got to that stage yet.
Yeah, fantastic. That's fantastic. And sorry, the date of the clinic again is going to be?
Yes, Saturday, May 14th.
Okay, awesome. So Rick, you just started, I think, working with Todd and the team and getting two Eagles Golf in Kelowna involved. You had a long career in finance and brought you sort of full circle back to teaching. And why, I know you're the leader of the group at the Two Eagles Golf Academy in terms of taking on Paragolf. So what's your passion? What's your driving force behind it?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Just a lot of hats I've worn in the golf industry. Teaching has always been there. It's always been the passion, and it is now. They say if you're going to retire to something, and that's what this is. When I see Todd's postings on LinkedIn over the last year or so, and all the great stories, then you go to his main page, and like, how can you not get involved? How can you not pick up the phone, or how can you not contact him, as I did, and go, hey, how can I get involved? I don't know a thing about it, but I'm not afraid to get involved, because we're trying to get adaptive golf in all capacities going everywhere right across Canada. So we've spoken at length, and he brought me on quite quickly. I talked to our general manager here at Two Eagles, Dean Claggett. He says, I'm wide open for support for you. So have at it. We've got a great academy over here. Got a ton of room, ton of space. We've got some indoor facilities as well that we can work on year round. So I thought I would contact Todd and say I'm in. And how do I get started? So that's what I'm doing.
Excellent. That's just great feedback to hear. So Bryan, what do you think, like, how do you feel that Paragolf is a great fit for Chilliwack Golf Club and the Atlas Golf Academy already exists, and how is that all going to blend together? Is it going to be sort of separate programming, or do you imagine sort of rolling it into one thing, but just different structures?
Well, I mean, our end goal is to is to have some equipment here on site and have it available to any a golfer that needs to use the adaptive golf equipment. One of the big tools, of course, is the Paragolfer, and it's an expensive piece of equipment, but we do intend on doing some fundraising for that, and we're hoping to partner with some local organizations that can help us through that process. But I think the end result, and one of the big things too, is just to have something like this to talk about at the membership level has been really great. Like, the members are here. We're a semi-private golf club, and they're just totally bought into this, like instantly, just kind of like what Rick was talking about. And we needed to raise some fundraising and sponsorship dollars to to bring Todd out from Ontario, and a couple of our members stepped up right away and wrote a check and said, yeah, like whatever we can do to help.
Awesome.
In fact, one of our members, he also wrote a check to help Dustin become a member here of the golf club. So this is a feel-good topic, and it's something that we can all rally behind and support. And and there's a lot of positives for the golf course as well.
Yeah, excellent. That's a great story, and I just love that some people are stepping up already to assist in the program. Todd, I just want to touch on a little bit beyond the teaching and coaching aspect. What's the future of Paragolf in Canada? Like, how big do you want to get, and where do you see things going in the next couple of years?
You know what? It's getting big right now. What I've developed is I've tried to make it as easy as golf courses as possible. Coming out of COVID, rounds are at a premium, and the big thing for golf courses, and it doesn't have to, whether somebody's able-bodied or differently abled, it's pace of play and course conditions. So what we're doing right now is we're integrating a handful of golfers into golf clubs on a men's or a ladies' day. And we're just taking 4 or 5 adaptive golfers, and we're picking one day out of the year that's convenient to the golf club and exposing them to adaptive golf, exposing their members. Everybody knows somebody that is in an adaptive situation, whether it be from a car accident, whether it be from a stroke, whether it be Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, amputee. We're just giving people the opportunity and letting them know that the golf course now is a place where you can come to and feel safe and feel wanted, because that's the big thing right now. We partnered up with junior development tours, where we're going to be integrating Paragolf Canada members into our next generation to make some normalcy to children out there. When you see a leg amputee or an arm amputee or somebody in a wheelchair hitting balls beside you, the last thing you're going to complain about is, oh, I have a bad back, or I have a sore arm today. The excuses kind of go out the window. So we're trying to expose as many people to adaptive golf as possible. And golf courses right now, they're buying in, hey, we can take 4 rounds out of one day out of our year for our men's or ladies' day and integrate a handful of golfers in there. It's a win-win situation all the way around, and it's something that's going to grow.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're right, more golf courses should get on board with the program. And Rick, I just want to touch on, because you're fairly new to the whole Paragolf thing. How's the reaction been in West Kelowna? I know you're getting a ton of support from Dean and the team over there. And what was the interaction with Todd like? Like, did you have to learn a separate way to teach from the way we maybe have been teaching golf the last number of years? I can't imagine. I mean, I have a hard enough time, Todd, hitting balls with my eyes open, never mind trying blindfolded. So Rick, maybe you can touch on a little bit of the skills that you've had to adapt to as this has gotten started in Kelowna.
Yeah, we've touched on it. There's going to be down the line, there's going to be an accreditation program that's going to be developed to certify people. But that said, we need to get going now. This is a hot button now. I think that the main thing that we've got to do is educate and train the general managers or even owners of the golf course that no, it's not going to slow down pace of play. It's not going to damage your golf course. Some of these members, they're out joining their foursome, maybe as a 5-ball the odd time, and they're hitting 2 or 3 shots during 9 holes. And that's it. That's all they want to do. We've got other examples that are going to play.
Awesome.
They're going to join a foursome, and you won't even know they're there. And quite often, they're going to be the lowest handicap player in the group. when we talked about just my years of experience of teaching, yeah, a lot of the drills I do are one-legged balance drills, which they almost have an advantage of right now. So yeah, I wanted to get on board regardless of the fears of getting started and being totally fluent right away. We've got Chris Jonason, the CEO of British Columbia Golf. I've talked to him. I've known him for years. He says it's on their topic of discussion every meeting, and I believe, Todd, they're meeting today as well. He would like Two Eagles to be the hub location for the interior. He's going to reach out to some other facilities across BC to get it going. And my goal is to start with one person, word of mouth, 2 people becomes 4. And at the end of the year, I want to have a day out here, an afternoon out here, where we get those 4 Paragolf members joining a group of ours, whether it's myself in a group, whether it's any one of our other pros from Two Eagles in a group, just to get them out. We've got a lot of media attention out here as well that are waiting for me to give them the call to come on out. It's just getting going. And again, how do you not pick up the phone and talk to Todd and get it going?
Yeah, that's awesome. So Todd, can you maybe touch on, for everybody's watching and listening, what's the process like if I've got a golf course, tomorrow that wants to get heavily involved with you and Paragolf Canada? What's the process? How do they make that happen?
Well, it's just changing the mindset. It's changing the mindset of the staff. It's changing the mindset of the ownership. Golf doesn't have to be 18 holes. Rick nailed it. It could be 4 or 5 shots out of 9 holes. You take somebody that's a new stroke patient, and for them, it's giving them, I've seen it out there where out of 18 holes, somebody's hit 7 shots. But guess what? They get their life back. They get the social interaction that golf brings. They're driving the golf cart. They're having a couple of pops with their friends. But that round of golf is an excuse to the normalcy. So it's allowing possibly, the final twilight tee time. After that, we're going to maybe let a paragolfer or their family come out and play 2 or 3 holes. We're going to section off a little bit of the drive range, or we're going to reach out to our local rehabilitation center and say, hey, you know what? We're an adaptive friendly golf course. Why don't you bring some of your clients out there? The numbers are 22% of all golfers have left the game due to their physical or mental situations. If you ask any golf course owner that's listening, would you like 22% of your revenue back? They're going to jump all over it. So it's doing it, but it's being adaptive in your thinking. It's being adaptive in the procedures that, it might not be 18 holes, but it's just giving the person the opportunity for the experience again. And that's what they're looking for.
Yeah. And Bryan, any feedback from your team when you introduced Paragolf and said to the team, hey, we're going to be open and welcoming, and we're going to change our mindset around disabilities and golf and disabilities? What was sort of the feedback you got from the team at Chilliwack?
Oh, just all super positive. Everybody just instantly jumped on board, and we're sitting and having conference calls with Todd, and figuring out what we can do and how we're going to do it. And yeah, so absolutely everybody's buying into it right away.
Yeah. And Rick, so how many students do you have currently going, and what sort of capacity can you deal with at Two Eagles?
Right now, I've got one individual who is he's a retired RCMP. He was an active hockey player. He was a golfer. He got a hockey injury, ended up being paralyzed on his entire left side. He is ready for me once the season gets a little bit warmer for him to come on over and see me. We've got a huge academy over here, tons of room. And I'm going to have all kinds of time available for anybody once we get going. Again, I want to start really slowly with this for all the reasons, and then gradually pick it up. I think this is going to snowball. I encourage everybody who's watching this this podcast here to go to the website. You're easily going to find yourself there a half an hour watching all the videos and Todd's stories. And that alone is payback, for why we want to do it. Some of them are quite emotional, and that's why we're doing it. It's trying to help grow the game and inclusion for all. So I wasn't afraid to put my hand up, and I want to get going.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, Todd, can you maybe just touch on first, like I've been on your website and it's fantastic. There's a lot of great tools, as Rick alluded to, on there, videos to watch, all that sort of stuff. But we're talking primarily about Paragolf Canada. Can you maybe just touch on a little bit for us? Is there Paragolf USA? Is there Paragolf Europe? Is it now gone international?
So yes, it has. So there's a world golf ranking system out there, kind of like the FedEx Point. That's the easiest thing to relate it to. So the European Tour has picked it up as well too, and they're integrating, 4 or 6 adaptive golfers before a European Tour event. I think they've had 4 stops last year. They had a small little event at the Tournament of Champions in Hawaii, where they had 4 adaptive golfers, adaptive golfers playing in it. And you know what? There's great associations happening in Canada. There's Blind Golf Canada. There's the Canadian Amputee Golf Association. But what I found was they're all doing incredible things, but nobody was sitting at the same table. And that's what I wanted to do, was bring people together, because there's strength in numbers. I have a couple of members that, as I said, are the best adaptive golfers and have toured around the world competing. And for them to knock on a door for sponsorship, it was challenging. But if we bring in a group of 10 of the best disabled golfers in Canada, now it's easier for them to get some support, whether it be through product, whether it be through clothing, whether it be whatever. But what I found was nobody was sitting at the same table. Everybody doing great stuff, but now we have a voice. Now we're sitting at the same table. BC Golf has been incredibly supportive since day one. We're going to get all the governing bodies across the country aboard with this, and then we're really going to see some growth into it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's such a great story. So, Bryan, I was really inspired just to touch base on Dustin again and his story, the global news link that we'll put into this clips at the end. Really inspired by that, seeing him go from the hospital bed to the swing, and I mean, man, he is hitting it solid when a couple of the clips out there. So I just wanted to know on your end, Bryan, have you been out to play with Dustin yet, and has he kicked your ass?
Yeah. Oh, he's a much better golfer than I am. No doubt about it. But that doesn't take much. No, he's a low handicap golfer. He's he's setting goals for himself. He's trying to get his number down, and he's super focused on it. And I know some of the events that Todd just mentioned there. He wants to get his world ranking number established. I think he's planning on trying to get down to Pinehurst this summer to compete in the I think is it the US adaptive golf tournament down there, Todd? Yeah,
so the USGA just announced their 15th major of the year. It's in Pinehurst this year. It's the inaugural USGA adaptive golf championship, national championship. So it's where everybody wants to be right now. Everybody wants to be getting down there. The USGA is going to do a bang up job playing at Pinehurst. I know the applications are out there right now. I think cutoff is May 4th for that, but we're going to have a really strong field from Canada going down there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome to see that, just how far things have come, and the relationships that you guys are all building with the para golfers across Canada, and a very exciting time. So I appreciate you guys all coming on today and sharing your insights. Very worthwhile conversation, in my opinion, and we'll get this shared out with everybody. Before we go, always got to do something a little off topic. Rick, you had sent me a note, but I'll start with you. I want to know what everybody's binge watching right now on Netflix. So Rick, go ahead.
I've been hooked on a show that's called Life in Pieces.
Oh yeah.
It's just all of a sudden you're sitting there, and they're 20-minute episodes, and you've watched 8 or 9 of them. And it's Colin Hanks, which is Tom Hanks' son. James Brolin is in there. And it's just life experiences that we can all relate to, the highs and lows of raising families and in-laws and all of that. So I've been having a ton of fun. Life in Pieces.
Awesome, that's great. And I've seen them all. In fact, we're going through the second run of them. We're rewatching all of them right now. So love that show. So Bryan, a little different topic for you, because I know you and I are both old-fashioned aficionados. Favorite bourbon at this point in time?
Oh, goodness. That's a loaded question. One that's being bought for me probably is my favorite, and hopefully you'll be doing that for me here soon. But I tend to gravitate to Bullet and Woodford.
Bullet and Woodford. All right. But those are both good choices, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's a lot cheaper down here in Vegas to get that stuff than
Oh,
it
I
is
can
in
imagine.
Canada, that's for sure. So, Todd, I'll go a little bit different with you because I don't know you that well, but let's go. You've been across the country, obviously touring golf facilities and whatnot. Let's go maybe one or two of your favorite golf courses in Canada.
You know what? I had probably the best experience. It was the most northern golf course in the world. It was a place called Olahuktuk. It's 600 miles north of the Arctic Circle. I was up there for something called the Billy Josh Open. This golf course is 9 holes, has no grass, no bunkers, no nothing. It has artificial turf greens. Ended up playing 24 straight hours just to say I can do it because the sun literally circled the sky. And then Jordan Tutu and I traveled across the Arctic at different hamlets, just motivating and talking to the kids. That was a phenomenal experience. Probably the worst golf course I played, but the best experience I ever had. And I was heavily involved with the Invictus Games in 2017. And we just did another, Invictus Legacy event at St. George's Golf Club here in Toronto, and that's where the Canadian Open's going to be here this year. Just a phenomenal old school track that is great golf course.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great experiences. I'm sure you guys all have a wealth of experiences, and we could probably fill hours on Zoom talking about the different experiences we've all had playing golf. But Todd, Rick, Bryan, appreciate you guys coming on and spending a little bit of time with me today. We'll get this shared out to as many people as possible, and always value your time and appreciate it. And thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jeff and Tara, for doing it.
Thanks for the platform, my friend.
See you guys.
Cheers.
Years in the making, a swing that at one time Dustin Boydell didn't think he would ever make again after a staph infection around his spine left him paralyzed from the waist down.
When I woke up from surgery, the doctor told me that I might not be able to walk again. Here we go.
That was Dustin's 4-year-old son Oliver in the background. Dustin beat the odds after a grueling rehab.
One leg at a time again?
But things were so uncertain at first.
The emotions that go through your mind are, okay, who's going to teach him how to walk and run and play sports and do all these things?
Family motivated Dustin during his recovery. His love of golf also fueled him. Tireless hours in rehab. That's a great stream.
And I just pushed myself. I swore I was going to walk out of there.
And true to his word, he did.
Not bad.
And finally, this incredible moment on May 25th of this year. His first swing since surgery, Dustin was back. And he tweeted that clip and tagged PGA pro Phil Mickelson in the post. Mickelson responded, and it just took off from there.
300,000 views later, and my phone was blowing up, and friends are texting me. And
Shortly after, the founder of Paragolf Canada got in touch with Dustin, and now he's become an ambassador, pushing for more instruction and clinics starting at the Chilliwack Golf Club.
And the interest is through the roof, which is fantastic, and I think it's going to open up a lot of doors for people that want to get back into playing golf. I thought maybe that wasn't an option for them.
And Dustin is now driving to be one of Canada's best paragolfers, maybe even world ranked one day.
it'd be nice to have a club that is welcoming with open arms to people of all abilities, and that's one of the big goals.
Okay, put the ball down.
You know, just because you have a limitation doesn't mean that golf can't be for you.
Like he said in his tweets, never let anyone tell you that something is impossible.
High five.
Jay Durant,
Good work.
Global News.